I am so honored and humbled to have received the Kimberly Kyser Award for Excellence in Italian. It came as a complete surprise to me, and I can honestly say that I would not be where I am today without the help, support, and dedication of the Italian department faculty. I would like to begin by saying that I am not someone who is a naturally gifted language learner, and I certainly never anticipated pursuing a language in college. My plan was to come to Carolina, trudge through the required 3 semesters of language study, and then never look back. My decision to take Italian was not something that I put a lot of thought into. In fact, I clearly remember the moment when I registered for Italian. I was sitting down on the couch with my brother, glancing over the language offerings, and my mouse landed on Italian. When asked why I wanted to take Italian, I responded, "Well, I like the cuisine and it's something different." That was it, and what a great decision it was. Upon walking into my first Italian class, I was struck with a horrible realization that this journey was going to be much harder than I had anticipated. I wasn't going to be able to just slide by without really understanding the language as I had in my previous language classes. My professor, Dr. Amy Chambliss, introduced herself to the class and began teaching in Italian. I sat there towards the back of the classroom, absolutely dumbstruck and lost, wondering to myself if she was aware that I had never before conversed in Italian. I was nervous and I was sure that I wouldn't make it through these 3 semesters, but thanks to Dr. Amy Chambliss, those fears never materialized. Dr. Chambliss pours her all into teaching. She brings an unmatched energy, passion, and dedication with her to class each and every day. Her enthusiasm for teaching and for the Italian language inspired and encouraged me to bring my best to class and to dedicate myself to the language learning process. Now let's remember that learning languages has always been very difficult for me, so there were many days throughout my journey with Italian when I felt confused and behind, but never once did I feel forgotten. When I felt my progress was lagging, Dr. Chambliss would recommend ways to help me improve my Italian by doing extra practice, like writing Italian sentences to nail down my grammar, drilling vocabulary, and listening to Italian music. I took her advice, and I spent many a Friday night at my desk drilling myself and constructing various sentences. Dr. Chambliss would then follow up with me, meeting me at the Stone and Leaf Cafe early in the mornings before classes started. She would review my sentences and explain how I could improve them. So despite being a slow learner, her dedication and willingness to help me learn, both during and outside of classroom time, is what really motivated me to dive in headfirst with Italian. Knowing that I had the support of my professor made all the difference in the world to me, and it's what made me believe that I could actually learn and love Italian. This type of support carried on throughout my journey with Italian, as my professors continued to spend hours of their time working with me in office hours. Even during the summer, Dr. Chambliss and other professors would dedicate time to reviewing my Italian writing and practice speaking with me just so that I could improve my listening and speaking skills. These are just a few examples that illustrate how the Italian department goes above and beyond in their dedication to teaching and supporting students. These professors made me actively want to learn and pursue Italian, so much so that I eventually was blessed enough to study abroad for a semester in Florence, Italy. I'm not going to lie though, while this prospect of going away, especially for 5 months, to a foreign land was exciting, it was also pretty nerve-wracking for me. Sure, I had practiced Italian for a few semesters here at Carolina, but I had yet to really immerse myself in the language and to apply that knowledge in a manner that would be necessary abroad. But my time there was transformational, and it broadened my understanding of Italian in ways that I would never have imagined. When I arrived in Italy, I was very timid and nervous to use my Italian because, well, I wasn't sure of my abilities and everyone there spoke nearly fluent English. The few times that I did try to communicate in Italian, I completely froze up, resulting in many of the locals laughing at me and even sometimes informing me that I would need to study Italian for a lot longer if I ever wanted to speak it. This was definitely demoralizing to hear, as I felt I had put a lot of work into learning Italian, but instead of giving up on myself, I decided that if I wanted to improve, I would need to push myself harder, and so I sought out new ways to immerse myself in the language. The first way that I did this was by joining an Italian tennis club, in which nobody, except for 2 people, spoke English. I had to communicate with everyone in Italian while I was there, and while this was extremely difficult at first, slowly, or piano piano, as the Italians so often said to me, I improved. I started going to the club 4 times a week, hitting with people, talking to the staff, and consequently becoming more familiar with both the language and the culture. I made friends with the people so much there that we began going out during our free time, and I would join in on their weekly activities, which exposed me to new aspects of their culture that I never would have seen otherwise. Eventually, I even began tutoring the high school girls at the club in English, which was beneficial for both of us, as I had to explain everything in Italian, and they were able to improve their understanding of my language. I continued to find other ways to expand my exposure to Italian culture beyond the study abroad bubble that I arrived in, by befriending local chefs who would take me around Florence and teach me their culinary techniques, spending time with elderly Italians in the countryside to learn about their lifestyles, and frequenting hidden gems within the city with other locals. Out of these experiences and the patience and generosity of those in Italy who were willing to share their lives and stories with me, I was able to gain a better understanding of the Italian culture and language. After returning to America with an even bigger passion for the Italian language and culture than I had had before going, I wanted to provide students with opportunities to immerse themselves in Italian culture outside of the classroom. I wanted to offer for them a community in which everyone could feel comfortable learning and experiencing Italian together, regardless of their proficiency level. To do this, I, with the help of Dr. Chambliss, began offering a conversation hour in which people could drop in and practice speaking Italian. I've also been leading an Italian book club throughout the spring semester where people ages 19 through 84 have joined to read the book Va dove ti porta il cuore and discuss its contents. This has provided a way for individuals to connect with one another and build relationships while practicing their reading and listening comprehension as well as their communication skills in Italian. I also helped to reestablish the Italian club so that individuals who are interested in the language could have a space to connect with others. Despite having come so far with my Italian, I certainly understand that I still have so much to learn. As a result, I'm continuing my Italian studies here in the United States for now, with the hopes of returning to Italy in order to pursue a master's degree at the University of Gastronomic Studies, as this would be an ideal way to combine my passion and curiosity about food with that of Italian. Now, as far as final reflections go, well, my journey isn't over yet, but I would just say to never underestimate yourself, whether you're a teacher or a student. For students, you're more capable than most of you realize, and you can accomplish any goals that you set for yourself as long as you remain passionate about them. For teachers, don't ever underestimate the impact that you have on your students because it's you who can have such an enormous positive impact on their lives and their learning. The passion and effort that you bring to the learning environment, whether it be in a classroom or otherwise, truly makes a difference. Students can feel this energy, and at least in my case, this is what will push students to go the extra mile and be excited to learn. I'm forever grateful to Dr. Amy Chambliss and the entire Italian department for their unwavering support and constant encouragement. If not for them, I may have never pursued Italian, and I wouldn't have known nor come close to even realizing my potential. So thank you to all of my professors and to all of those who have helped me along this journey for seeing the potential in me and for providing me with the environment necessary to develop it. I will continue to push myself and explore the Italian culture in as many ways as possible after my time at UNC, starting with the hope of attending Università di Scienze Gastronomiche di Potenza. Thank you so much for this award. I am truly so humbled and so honored.